All right, you guys, welcome. The agenda for today is a bit long. It's also my first time with this new content. So I'm not quite sure how long it will take, but I want to be mindful of your time, and I want to stop anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes. Okay, so I think is everyone okay with that time frame, 60 to 90 minutes? And I definitely want to have some time towards the end to take your questions. And of course, we'll have a beautiful exercise in the middle of our training for you to really connect and make this personal for your journey and get a personal breakthrough. So let me go ahead and first introduce myself for those of you either watching on replay or Christine, I'm not sure, I can't see you, I'm not sure if we've connected before, but welcome. Hi, Kara. Hi, Al. This is my first time connecting with Al. Welcome, Jan. We're going to have some other friends join us shortly here. But I am Renee Lee, your Soul Purpose Success Mentor. I am so committed to helping spiritual entrepreneurs, spiritual teachers, healers, coaches really reach that next level of success in their sacred business. Because as you do so, you are fulfilling your soul's purpose on earth and you are changing the energy of the world. Kind of big picture, but I totally believe in it. And I am one to really hold the macro picture and the micro picture. So I adore you and your light and your sacred businesses because I know that you're having an impact in the world. And as you venture on this entrepreneurial journey and you're having your own personal breakthroughs, stepping into your power, becoming more visible, becoming more vulnerable, because vulnerability is true visibility, right? As you step into all of that to become a profitable entrepreneur, you are really leading the way for all of your clients and leading the way for mankind to really access higher vibration. So I honor you and I honor your light, and I'm so glad you're here. Yay! Today, what we're going to talk about are the universal laws and how they can be either worked with or worked against. So I want to start off with a quote from one of my earlier emails. You may have read it. And the quote is that, we're all energy beings and we live in this energy hologram. And the bottom line is you're either working with or you're working against the universal laws. That's it. We're all energy. You're either working with or working against. So in today's training, I'm going to show you how I've worked with the universal laws to create consistent income through my high-level program since October of 2015. So since October 2015, I have had nonstop payments from clients from the high-level program, not my e-course, right? Not healing sessions, but from my high-level program. And that consistency, and there's been no gap. So every 2 weeks I get paid by clients and every month I pay myself. So that consistency is due to me working with the universal laws. And there's going to be 4 universal laws that we're going to cover today. It's going to be, well, maybe I'll wait a little bit to talk about the universal laws. The other thing I want to share with you is I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. Raise your hand if you've been an entrepreneur for 1 to 5 years. Oh, I can't see some of you. I'm saying raise your hand. You could also put it in the chat. It's totally fine if you don't want to do video, you don't want to be seen. Totally fine. Although I would encourage you to be seen because part of this work that we do is about visibility. So I would encourage you to be seen, but if you don't want to, you can certainly put it in the chat and I'll see it. You can either private message me in the chat or share it with everyone. How many of you guys here have been an entrepreneur for 5+ years? Okay, so Kara raised her hand. I've been an entrepreneur for, this is my 11th year, my 3rd business, my 11th year. And in my very first year as an entrepreneur, I made 6 figures. Blew me away, out of the blue. I've had no other mentor in my life, no other role model in my family to show me what an entrepreneur is. I come from an immigrant family. I stumbled onto different God breadcrumbs. I ended up back against the wall after signing a crazy non-compete clause in my contract with my last company that I worked for. And I was just like, I have to go into business for myself, or I have to go into a whole new sector and start from the bottom. And so when my back was against the wall, I went all in 100%, became an entrepreneur, and made 6 figures my first year. The secret to that first year I'm going to share with you today. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait to share with you guys. Al says, oh yeah, no worries. Okay, yeah. So glad to have you here, Al. Woohoo! I think Al knows Kara, right? Kara knows Al? Yes? Yes. Fantastic. So we'll be talking about that personal secret of mine, which helped me to create that six-figure year as well as other six-figure years over the past 10 years that I've been an entrepreneur. So if you're here, I know you're really looking forward to growing your client list. So raise your hand or type in yes in the chat if you are looking to grow your client list, right? Yeah, cool. And also raise prices. Who is here because they want some support and assistance raising their prices? Yeah, cool. Growth. Oh yes, awesome. So you're in the right place because this is where we're going to fine-tune your manifesting abilities. That's what this is all about, right? When I talk about universal laws, working with the universal laws or working against, when you're working with the universal laws, you become a powerful creator. A powerful creator. And this is important to really let sink in because you are an aspect of God yourself. You are a creator. And in order to step into that role as powerful creator, you've got to really embrace this idea of personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. So if you're getting mixed results in your business and your life, if you feel like, look, I'm able to manifest certain things in this area of my life, but I can't manifest things in my business, if there's that inconsistency, then there's something going on where you are working against the universal laws. Because everything is our own responsibility. You have to take personal responsibility for the things that show up in your life. And it will always be either one of the two things. You're either working with the universal laws, which is why you're able to manifest certain things, or you're working against the universal laws, which is why you can't manifest certain things, and you're efforting, and you're just like, what is it about me? Or what, or maybe you're blaming the situation, or you're blaming other people for not helping you create a certain experience you want, right? That doesn't fly here. I am all about personal responsibility. I've talked about this for the past year as well. Once you can shift into that awareness that, hey, it's just me here. I'm the creator of my experience, and I'm either working with or working against the universal laws. When you can get it down to that level to that perspective, then you become a conscious, powerful creator of your experiences. So this is why this class is going to offer you that foundation for you to really understand the universal laws, own it, see how you've been working against it in the past or working with it in the past, and then really just flex that mastery muscle. It's all about flexing that mastery muscle and consistently working with the universal laws to create the life that you want. So there's a handout, by the way, for those of you that have not printed it out. I put that link here in the chat on the right side. And we're going to go through those 4 universal laws. And as we go through them now, what I'd like you to do is really write down how you've been working against the law or with the law. So I'll be giving you examples, and I just want you to write down whatever insights come to you, okay? So it is so important that we, again, work with universal laws because we're all energy beings. We're all energy beings. The very first universal law that I learned as a young adult is the universal law of impermanence. So this is something that Buddha taught. It's in one of his main teachings, the law of impermanence. And it says that, hey, look, everything in this world changes, right? You go from a 3-year-old body to a 5-year-old body to a 12-year-old body to an adult body, and you keep aging. That's because the cells in your body are constantly changing, constantly. How your body was, the state of your body, physical body, just 15 minutes ago is different than the state of your body right now. Cells are constantly changing. We're aging, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? There's nothing we can do about it. This is part of the universal law of impermanence. Nothing is permanent. The only thing that's true is that everything changes. Everything is changing. The seasons change. You know, animals are born, animals die, as humans do. Emotions, situations, experiences change. Nothing lasts forever, right? Nothing lasts forever. And so how does this show up in our business? If we're thinking about the universal law of impermanence and how everything is changing, things change, people change. Number one, your business changes, right? How many of you have experienced your business evolve over the years? Your business changes. Your messaging may change. But if you're working against this universal law, this is how it could show up, let's say, with your clients, right? Let's say you work with a client for a year or 2 years, and you just have this expectation, hey, my client's just going to renew. And you're kind of banking on that client to bring you the paychecks, right? And then 1 year, the client says, oh, I feel called to do this other thing, and decides not to renew with you. If you're working against this universal law, your energy and your mind may turn into an imbalance, right? You may become sad, angry, fearful, maybe go into scarcity if you were really banking on that one client to renew again. You might get upset, maybe irritated, confused. That's all an imbalance of the mind, right? And so if you're working against the universal law of impermanence, you're going to be in that state of imbalance, and you're going to resist this change. And it's a natural change, right? So your client is just kind of following his or her own God breadcrumbs and going on his or her own unique journey. And so here we are, another change has come up into our awareness. How do we be with that change? Knowing that this is a universal law. Nothing lasts forever. How do we be with that change, right? If you're working with the universal law of impermanence, then you're really going to be, the metaphor I like to use is the bedrock of a river. This is the ideal goal, okay? You want to be the bedrock of the river where you see the waves crash above you. That's all the changes happening. It could be, deaths in your life, different rejections, clients saying no, clients not renewing, whatever is happening, that's all the waves crashing on top. And you want to be the bedrock of that river where you're not touched by those waves. You can observe it, you can see it, you can acknowledge it, but you're not taking it personally. You're not thrown off balance because you understand this is the universal law. This is what governs everything. These universal laws govern everything. So take that in for a second. You are an energy being, and these universal laws govern everything in existence, all of consciousness, all energy. So wouldn't it make sense to work with the universal laws, right? So we experience this flow, this divine flow in our life and in our business. So that's the universal law of impermanence. Take a moment now. If you look at your worksheet, there's a section that says, in your business, when you are working against the universal law, it can look like this. And I want you to write that down. Whatever comes to you, how have you resisted change in your business? And how did that make you feel? Just really tune into how long did you hold on to that resistance to change in your business? What did that look like for you? And the reason we're getting you really present to how it feels when you work against the universal laws is so that you become a master at recognizing yourself and your habits. This is what it is. This is what is true for me when I'm going against universal laws, and this is what's true for me when I'm going along with the universal laws. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. And if you've completed that, the next section is when you're working with the universal law of impermanence, the universal law of impermanence, which says everything has to change all the time. How did it feel? What was your experience? What does your life and business look like when you're going with the flow of change in your business? And if anybody wants to share, they could share in the chat, or they could just kind of raise your hand. You could raise your hand. And I'm really excited for the other 3 universal laws coming up because it can really play out in your business like in your face, play out in your business. So this was the law of impermanence. Any questions about the law of impermanence? And just, I love that image of, being the bedrock of that river. That's really the ultimate attainment. That's really the ultimate attainment, where you can be at peace no matter what the circumstances are in your personal life or your business. Okay, universal law number 2. This is the universal law of sacrifice. And this law really makes sense, right, when you think about it. When you want to manifest something that is of higher vibration, when you want to manifest, let's say, for example, you declared $250,000 as your income goal for next year. Okay. When you declare such a number, which is a stretch for you, let's say, it's going to start kicking up a lot of low energy stuff. That's like, hey, I don't feel good with that income goal around me. I don't really know how we can get there. It starts to get irritated. It doesn't know how to be with that higher energy, right? Because they're so different. Vibrationally, they're so different. Where you want to go and where you are can be really different depending on how daring you are with your dreams, right? It can be very different. And so it gets agitated. It gets really agitated. This contradiction doesn't sit well with you in your energy field. And so what happens is it comes up to the surface. You become aware of this agitation. You could be cranky, you could be overwhelmed, you could be frustrated, you could be like, oh, the hell with this, forget it, I don't want to play the game. You could become really aware of this contrast within you. I feel comfortable with this, but I kind of want that. And you're like, doesn't feel good to be in that contrast, sitting in that contrast. And so things come up in your awareness as a possibility for healing. So then you have a choice to work with the universal law of sacrifice, to work with it. To work with the universal law of sacrifice would look like this. Whatever is coming up that's low vibration, you would actually release that. So for example, how many of you guys are straddling jobs right now? Raise your hand if you are, have those golden handcuffs where you need that 9 to 5, or you think you need that 9 to 5 to keep the money flowing in. Okay, Melissa raised her hand. And so when you're in that position of straddling a 9 to 5 job, which by the way, I've been there, I straddled for 2 to 3 years. And it wasn't until my right knee almost gave out on me that I realized, oh, my body's telling me I'm scared to death to move forward into the unknown. That's what the knee is, right? Movement forward. It's also ego, by the way. And so my ego was saying, why would you leave being at the top rung of the ladder in my 6-figure business? Why would you leave being at the top rung of the ladder to start at the bottom rung of the ladder? My ego liked wearing suits all the time. What do I wear if I'm a healer? Excuse me. Right? So my ego definitely was in play. Also the fear of walking into the unknown. So I straddled. I've been in this situation. And what I did was I decided working against the universal law of sacrifice was not good for my health, right? My knee pain showed up full force. And I used to be a runner, but I had never had knee pain like this. I couldn't go up and down the stairs on the subway. This is when I used to live in the city. I couldn't get down on my knees to bathe my young child. My first child back then was, less than a year old, I think. I couldn't get down to bathe him. And it was ridiculously scary to the point where I didn't even tell my husband for 2 weeks. And I tell my husband everything. So for me not to tell my husband, I was really scared. And it wasn't until I met with my Reiki master back then that she broke out this big book. I think it was like a Bruno Groening book. And she looked it up and she read this huge thing. And of all that she read, the one thing that really stood out for me was fear of walking into the unknown. And then it clicked. It was like, okay, like that's exactly where I am. And that's what I'm manifesting on a physical level. So working against the universal law of sacrifice literally created a physical ailment in my body. Okay. When I was willing to let go of that business, to fully step into this next level of my evolution in my entrepreneurship journey. Then the knee pain disappeared like that. It never came back. I never even saw a doctor. It was excruciating pain, went away like that, never saw a doctor. All because I said, okay, instead of working against the universal law of sacrifice, I will work with this law. So it can, really go there if you are resisting for a good amount of time, replacing that old energy with the new energy. You've got to let certain things go if you're going to make room. And this is the key with this law. What you're doing when you're sacrificing the old energy is you're really creating space to receive that new energy, that dream that you have, that vision, or that, that spirit guidance. For you to really step into that, sometimes you have to let go of the old. So that's the universal law of sacrifice. I want you to take a moment and tune into your business and see where you have been unwilling to let go of something, like example, the 9-to-5 job, for fear of not being able to sustain yourself. Think about where you've been really straddling. That's a really key word to kind of describe this law. Universal law of sacrifice. If you want to identify like where it's at play in your life and business, just think, where am I straddling? Where is my choice point? Where I could choose that, but you're hesitant and you're going to just look at it and not yet choose it because you kind of want to stay with the familiar. So look in your life and business right now. Where are you straddling? Where are you at a choice point and you haven't made the choice yet? This is where the universal law of sacrifice is at play, and you're either working with it or you're working against it. So make some notes. Whatever insights are coming to you, whatever thoughts, memories, write those down. Tune into how it feels. And again, if you want to share it, you can share it in the chat on the right, or you can raise your hand. Yeah, so the universal law of sacrifice is a biggie because as I have grown my own business and also spiritually, right, in my personal life, grown spiritually and connected with my spirit guides in a much deeper way, I've had to let go of a lot of things, including where I lived. That's the most recent one. The success and the freedom that I wanted from my life was vibrating up here. Let's say it's like a band, because everything is consciousness, right? It's a band of consciousness. So what I really wanted was a band of consciousness up here, all the freedom and the success and deeper connection with spirit. It's all up here. But I was living in a city that was vibrating at a different level. Okay. And I'm not saying all cities are bad. It's just for me in that point in my life, the vibration of the city and the place where I was physically was not in alignment with the kind of life that I wanted to create for myself and my family. And so I had the choice point to either get out of the city and move to the mountains or stay in the city. That was my choice point. And I straddled, so here's how I straddled that one, for a little over a year, basically saying, this is what I want, right? Declaring that desire. This is also considered straddling. Declaring this is what I want, but not taking action and staying in my current situation. How many of you have done that? Simply declared what you want, but took no action. That's a form of straddling because you're at that choice point. You see both sides clearly, but you're not willing to let the old go and step with 2 feet into the new dream that you really say you want. So if that's you, write that down on your worksheet and really get clear on how that makes you feel and what the impact is on your life when you're working against this universal law of sacrifice. And I'll tell you, it's miserable. I was literally crying every time I thought of the mountains. I'll be driving in my car and I think, oh, the mountains, how nice it would be to move there. And my soul would cry. It can be soul stifling when you're straddling, guys, right? It can be soul stifling when you're straddling. It can be miserable. It could be agony when you know what your next step should be because your spirit guides have clearly shown you, but you're afraid to take action and you're straddling. It could be agony. I know that I always end up taking that spirit guidance anyway. So in recent years, I cut the agony way down. And I was just like, all right, I'm scared to death, but here I go. Because otherwise you're agonizing, right? But you know you're going to take that step anyway, eventually. So why delay it? Cut the agony out. Let's see. Melissa wrote, I am 3 weeks away from stepping away from the 9 to 5. Yay! The straddle right now is trusting everything will work okay. And there's intense fear. Yeah, totally. So the straddle, it takes courage. It takes courage to say yes to your soul purpose success. It takes courage to say yes to bigger dreams. It takes courage. And so the only way to bring both your feet onto that side of the line is to walk through that divine threshold and to be equanimous with that fear, right? So equanimous means not judging the emotion, not judging the process, not judging it, just simply, not taking anything personally. This is what I'm experiencing, not being in it, but observing it. Right? Again, not being in it, because then you become the victim of the situation or you become imbalanced in your mind because you're in it. You want to observe it and really see it as a process. That will help you to kind of navigate that threshold and really find yourself on the other side. So yay, congratulations to Melissa for setting that date, 3 weeks, and then you'll be free. Free, right? Because that straddle, whatever it is that's lassoing you to the old life, lassoing you to the old way of being, it sucks. It's heavy. It's like that nagging thing, and you're like, God, I wish I could just be free from that so I could do this. Well, now, Melissa, you have set yourself free. And this is the personal responsibility part that I was talking to you guys about, right? Only you can do it. All the coaches out there in the world, we can only hold space for you to say yes. We can only hold space for that. We can't take the action for you. We can't say yes for you. So amazing. Very good. Linda. Hi, Linda. Linda says, it's not a golden chain to have a job. It's a blessing, and I'm grateful to have it. I just need to get my business out there. Totally get that. So for some people, you know what? If you feel, some of us have children, right? Some of us have children. And so you're meant to be a householder. There are light workers out there who are not meant to take any money at all. You're not in that club, by the way, if you're here. But there's a very small minority of light workers who are told by God, you cannot accept money. And so when there's exchanges, you have to put money in an envelope. So Buddhist monks do this. They can't actually touch money. And I also know regular householders, non-monks that are in the same boat. So I've met real life people who are told by God, you can't accept money. And so for them, they are completely taken care of. They just have the right sponsors, the right individuals who happen to be rich that just kind of sponsor them and take them through different things and projects and help fund their travel so that they can really do God's work. Now, those people are real light workers who are in a different energy level. They're in a very different energy level. They're of a higher band of consciousness that they are so taken care of. They don't have to think about money. Then there's the rest of us, the majority of light workers who are householders. We're meant to be householders. I have the 2 children that I have for damn good reason. And I kind of know why. And so as householders, we need money, right? We still have to live and play in this game, in this hologram that is Earth. And so for those people who are struggling and you're saying, I can't seem to make money in my sacred business, if staying in that job is going to keep the balance in your mind, this is the key, because everybody's different. If staying in that job is going to help you keep the balance in your mind while you take full out action and you're more committed to your business than staying in the straddle, you can. People have done it. Marie Forleo is an example, right? And she preaches a lot about, make the money in your business first before you leave. I, for a long time, was dead against that. For a very, very long time. I said you cannot be successful in your sacred business until you leave your 9-to-5 job. I personally am unable to straddle. You heard the story earlier. My knee gave out. I personally cannot take it. A lot of my old clients said, why didn't you keep your old business and hire, subcontractors to do the work? If my passion is not in it 100%, I don't want to do it. And for me, it's like a switch turns off. There's no more passion here. All my passion is here. I am just like I'm an over passionate person about everything. And so I go all in any project that I work with. So that's me and my personality. Now, in the last couple of years, working with various clients in my high-level program, I have come to a more balanced medium ground. And so I think for some folks that are not ready to jump, like Melissa is ready, I think it's okay for you to stay in your 9-to-5 job as long as you are clear. And you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. This is the real key. It's personal responsibility for your success or personal responsibility for lack of your success. You've got to get really, really clear. Who am I being? What am I committed to? Am I staying here for fear, or am I staying here in a very objective space, just trying to attract money through my sacred business? There's a very fine line, and if I work one-on-one with somebody, I'll kind of know what that line and balance is for that person. It can be different for everyone, but you've got to get really clear. Am I here because I don't believe I can be that? Am I here because I'm just waiting for a magic pill to help me fly over my threshold? Because no one can do that. No one can do that, right? You've got to get really brutally clear. This is where you self-reveal your blocks. This is where you self-reveal your, what's limiting you and what shifts need to happen. So stay, working with these exercises in this class. We're going to continue on to the next universal law. And Linda, just really start to tune into the impact of what it's like to be there. Just really tune into how long you've been in this straddle, what the toll is on your physical body, what it is that you're really, really looking for. Are you really looking for that magic pill? Are you really, or have you been taking great action and seeing progress and seeing progress and seeing progress? And, you just need, one more, client perhaps to be confident to leave. And that's what it boils down to, isn't it, guys? Confidence, right? And so when you work with the universal laws, and you become a master, when you're flexing that mastery muscle, you become more confident. Well, I can create anything I want. Well, here's my next goal. Well, here's my next spirit guidance. Well, of course I can create that. And when you become more confident, then you can really step into your power and create anything that you want instead of straddling and agonizing, like I said. If you're more in agony and fear and insecurity, then sometimes you just have to stop the 9-to-5 and really step into, it's like burning the ships. My coach once said, burn all your ships until there's no way back. And sometimes that's the kick in the ass you need. It's kind of like how my back was against the wall and I said, how the hell am I going to pay my rent? And, 11 years ago, I decided to start my own business because it was either that or start at base salary doing something very different. When your back is against the wall and your ships have been burned, sometimes that's when we really grow. Okay, awesome. So who's ready for the next universal law? It's the universal law of attraction. Raise your hand, do a little dance for me. Woo! Melissa, you missed the song that I played at the beginning. I started with a little song. You know what? I think after that little talk, let's play the song again. Shall we play the song again? Dance. Because you're coming up. You guys are going to step into your power. Melissa's going to quit her 9-to-5 job in 3 weeks. This is you. This is your power. It's what you're meant to do. Kara's dancing. I love it. I hope Jan and Al are chair dancing right now. Linda, are you chair dancing? Okay. Awesome. Oh, here's another great one. I wish I could fade that out. It would be so professional of me to fade out the music. Law of sacrifice. So how many of you are trying to raise your prices? Raise your hands again. Trying to raise your prices. If you have, let's say, $100 an hour clients, right? And everybody kind of knows you as the person to go to for these things, for these sessions, and it's $100 an hour and they can rely on you. You haven't raised your prices in 3 years. And now you're feeling like, well, gosh darn it, my healing sessions are so much more powerful, they're worth more, and you're like in that gap, again, that contrast of here's my value, but this is what I've been charging. You're in that contrast. If you don't let those $100 clients go, the clients that say, I can't afford you at that higher price, if you don't let them go as your clients, you're not going to attract the clients who are willing to pay you that higher price. This is the law of sacrifice at play. When you're working against this law of sacrifice, then you are unable to claim that next level of success. You can't step into it, holding on to this other vibration, right? That's lower and older. I had my Reiki master one time said to me, it took her forever to raise her prices. It took her forever to raise her prices until, because, for her, it was like everybody deserves, Reiki healing sessions, until her spirit guide said to her, Stacy, there's a lot of brand new Reiki healers and teachers. Like they deserve students and clients too. And it was when she heard that it clicked for her. And she's like, all right, I get it. Like I'm not meant to serve everyone. Like it's okay, right? So the people who can only afford $100 an hour can be matched up vibrationally to the healers that are charging that and that are, trying to master that level of energy. Master that level of energy. And then for my own Reiki master who had been, doing this for decades, she had to move on to really fulfill the next level of her soul's purpose, to reach this new level of students and healers and clients that were ready for a higher energy exchange. You get that? So she had to sacrifice her clients, and clients will walk away from you. They will. And that's so okay. That's so okay, because everyone's on their own unique journey and it's totally fine. You're only responsible for your journey, for your soul's purpose, for your calling. And again, the law of impermanence says everything's going to change. And so there's always going to be this constant evolution. And you'll always have that choice point to climb higher vibrationally and access higher consciousness and go deeper with your spirit connections. You'll always have that opportunity if you don't resist change, if you don't resist letting go of the old to claim the new. Are you guys starting to really understand these two laws, right? Law of impermanence and the law of sacrifice. So the next law is the law of attraction. We've all heard the law of attraction. It is, the basic premise is like attracts like, right? Like attracts like. And so what's interesting is the law of attraction and the law of assumption are extremely similar, but there is one distinction that I'm going to share with you in a little bit here that sets them apart and really tells you how to work with each one. So the universal law of attraction is all about attracting people, situations, experiences that are of like vibration to you. So it's not just about the things that you think. It also extends to your behavioral actions. And so the law of attraction says, hey, look, if you have been late for your client calls or your calls with your coaches, or if you've been asking for refunds, right, you're going to get clients who ask you for refunds. If you've been flaking on your scheduled appointments, your clients may flake on you. So the law of attraction is a very general rule, like attracts like. It's not just in your core belief system, which is where the law of assumption lives. And so law of attraction is like, if you're judging people and you're afraid to be judged yourself, then usually it's because you're judging other people as well. And so you'll get people who will judge you and be critical of you and your services, maybe even criticizing your gifts, telling you they don't really believe in your gifts, right? So if you're experiencing that in your business, then you're not utilizing the law of attraction in the best way. So you really want to get clear. If you're working with the universal law of attraction, then you are going to show up the way you want your clients to show up for you. Okay? So working with the universal law of attraction will look more like ease and flow and grace and consistent income, right? So if you're paying your mentors and coaches or whoever, your vendors on time, then you will have your clients pay you on time, right? So using the law of attraction can certainly bring you consistent income the way it has for me. Since October 2015, I've had consistent income from my high level program without a gap at all, which is amazing. And I'm going to actually share with you in a little bit here how I got to that point. This is my personal secret, which I'm going to share with you in a little bit. So that's the law of attraction. Now, the law of assumption only rules your core belief system. It only rules your core belief system. If you take a look at page 4, there's a little definition of assumption, which is super important to really look at. So assumption is defined as a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without any proof. Without any proof. This law of assumption will help you master faith. The law of assumption will help you master faith. Now, certainty, your level of certainty is the key with the law of assumption. So again, unlike law of attraction, it's not affected by your behaviors. It's really, what are you thinking and what are you certain of? What are you certain of? Whatever it is you're certain of is what's going to appear in your life. And by using your imagination in this law, you can really create anything. You can really create anything. Certainty and imagination are the two keys to help you work with this universal law of assumption. When you're not working with this law, when you're working against the law of assumption, what can show up for you in your business is the very worst case scenario. That's what will show up in your life and your business if you're working against the universal law of assumption. Okay, it's kind of like you go to talk to your prospects and there's a part of you that's like, I just know they're going to say no. Right? I just know they're going to say no. And guess what? They say no. Or if you're in a relationship with a guy, and you're just waiting for that boot to drop, right? That's the old saying, where you're waiting for that other boot to drop, the other shoe to drop. That's on one level, you are so certain that's going to happen. You're 100% certain that's going to happen. You're just waiting for it. And so what happens? It happens. The other boot drops, right? And so this is how it plays out in your personal life and also in your business. When I started doing retreats at hotels, that was a big change for me, right? So I was doing retreats at like workshops and retreats at the back of Crystal Shops. My retreat in Mount Shasta, California was in this art gallery, which is really, really pretty. But I was ready to move on and really up my standards. And I really, really wanted to be in a hotel and give my clients that kind of experience. So as I was negotiating with hotels, my assumption created some not so fun interactions with the hotel people, right? And so I realized that what I was really certain of, remember certainty is the key here with this universal law, what I was certain of was that I was going to get gypped in the negotiation, right? And I'm not going to go into the whole story of like where that came from. I have ideas about where that came from, and I've healed that to move away from feeling certain that I would be gypped. But that certainty, that assumption created my experiences. And so there were these like really weird, um, you know, it was like these thoughts of like, is there manipulation going on? Do I have the upper hand, right? And so my approach to the whole contract negotiation was heavy because I had this certainty that this was going to happen. And so that's what showed up. So some of the hotels that I talked to, they were giving me weird prices. They were not really wanting to, negotiate with me. And so I had to leave that energy to start working with the law of assumption. So then I took on, hey, you know what? I am so clear and certain that this is going to be easy. This next hotel that I'm going to talk to, it's going to be really light and a free-flowing conversation. And that person on the other end of the phone is going to be so nice and really warm and welcoming. And this hotel is going to be great. And when you change up what you're certain will show up, that's what you attract. That's what shows up. You start to see that? If you start, let's say, a group mastermind, for example, and you're like, oh my God, my first time doing a group, people are going to complain. What if one person complains and then that just starts, other people complaining, and you're like, that's the worst case scenario that I'm scared of. How do I handle multiple people complaining? That's going to show up, right? That's going to show up. If that is like a hidden fear, and you're energizing it, and you're like, I need to prepare for that worst case scenario, then you're attracting that because you're working, you're utilizing the law of assumption, but you're not using it in the best way, and you're actually attracting all your worst case scenarios. Does that make sense? Al says, wow, that's cool that there are new providers who need those lower paying, not ready to move up. Isn't that cool? That is really cool. It's just, again, your responsibility is only to yourself, right? And if there's a desire sparked in your heart, if there's a desire spark that says, I'm ready for higher level clients, I'm ready to make, $300,000 this year, I'm ready to stop doing one-on-ones. And for some people, that's true. Your spirit guidance, your business, the format of your business, the model of your programs, it may shift. You may just feel like, hey, this program really wants to be a group program and not one-on-one. And then you go, oh my God, the guilt. And for a lot of healers, it's guilt. But it's so powerful one-on-one, and my client's gonna miss the one-on-one part. And all of that we can get caught up in it. When really, if we simply followed the sparks of desire, if we simply followed our God breadcrumbs and we went with the flow, not resisting the change, not resisting the need to let go of certain things, to claim that new dream, when we're working with the flow, working with the universal laws, everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Because in those people, right, the lower paying clients, or the people who you think are gonna miss the one-on-one, they may have a deeper breakthrough with your new format or your new model. They may move on to the next coach, someone else other than you, that's gonna offer them another type of breakthrough. You don't know. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to not know, and don't take anything personally. All you are responsible for is really lining up with what's true for you, lining up with what's calling you. Keep lining up. This is the whole process of alignment, right? Aligning with your divine blueprint, aligning with your soul purpose success. Things are so easy when we just stop thinking so much, really, right? And so thank you for sharing that, Al. So the law of assumption, I'll give you an example. And as I share my example, tune into what's true for you in your business and how you've been certain of some things, right? And it's come true. So back in 2015, in October, when I started a high-level program, it was a 3-month coaching back then, at $3,000 back then. I had my first client. He was a male. I say that because it's so rare that I get males, although this year I had a couple of male clients. And so this guy, his last call with me at the 3 months, his last call was the same day as the first call for my second client. And then the last call for my second client was the first call for my third client. And by that point, I said, hold up, something is happening here. Now, from the outset, other people can say, well, Renee, you're clearly meant to do this. And for me, yes, but there's something more. Like I knew there was something else because energetically, it felt like a bottleneck. It felt like the universe wanted to send me so many clients. And I was like, please drip it one by one. Right? And so I looked at, well, what's that mixed signal I'm sending? Because when you're working against universal laws, you're sending a mixed signal out to the universe. This is why you get mixed results. And this is the universal law of assumption at play. So when I got really clear, I set the intention to self-reveal, right? Because I knew there was something else going on here. When I set the intention to self-reveal, what I got was, hey, look, there is this milliliter of doubt. It was very small. It wasn't in my conscious brain for days in and days out, right? This 1 milliliter of doubt that said, if I had multiple clients at the same time, will I be able to hold the same space for the clients? And will I be able to be with my young children? Back then, Nathan and Rachel were like 3 and 1. They were very young, right? 2015. 3 and 1. So there was this 1 milliliter of fear that I won't be able to show up for my kids the way I want to if I had multiple clients. That 1 milliliter of doubt will pollute all your manifesting efforts. That's the mixed signal. It's like saying, hey, please, dear God, send me my soul clients. And then you go, oh my God, stop. And you're literally like, to the universe going, I don't know. Because I'm pretty certain if that happens, if I get what I ask for, I'm pretty certain it's going to change up my dynamic with my kids. You see that? I was assuming that this was going to change if I got what I asked for. And so that mixed signal manifested as clients literally dripping in. I'll have conversations with like X number of prospects, and then one person will sign up and just happen to book their first call on that day of the last call of the last client. Like it was insane. And so once I got clear, I started working with the universal law. So what did I do? I started affirming that, hey, it's safe to have more than one client at a time, that I am able to balance, and that spirit and source will give me everything I need to balance. And so once I got rid of that 1 milliliter of fear, within 2 weeks, I had 3 concurrent clients. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 concurrent clients. And that's how powerful your manifestation abilities are. The key is know when you're working with the universal laws, when you're working against it, and what you need to shift to start working with the universal laws. And so what you need to shift, how do you self-reveal? Who wants to know the answer to that? How do you self-reveal? It all boils down to being brutally honest with yourself and looking at you and your energy from an objective perspective, right? And so what I want to do right now is kind of walk you through an exercise that will help you to really see where you're working with the universal law of assumption. So what I want you to do right now is to close your eyes. We're going to call in your spirit guides, and we're going to do a little exercise. So just close your eyes and start to ground into your body. We've been doing a lot of head talk, a lot of teaching. So just kind of get into your body, move into your heart space. And what I'm going to ask you to do in a little bit here, just take some deep breaths as you listen to me. I'm going to ask you to tune in to some scenarios. I'm going to ask you to daydream a little bit with me. And as you daydream, you're going to have a visual come up in your mind. And when you have that visual come up in your mind, I'm going to ask you to tune in to some feelings behind that visual, okay? And so go ahead and take another deep breath into your belly, and we're going to just call in all of your spirit guides. We're going to call in your angels. We'll call in your I ams. And we're just going to ask them to help us be conscious of the very thing that needs to shift right now in order for us to have new levels of success in our business. That is the sacred intention. And what I want you to do is start to imagine yourself speaking your full truth. Speaking your full truth. Whatever that looks like to you. That's fullest expression. Coming out as a healer, perhaps. Speaking your full truth. What does that look like in your mind's eye? Perhaps it's being on a stage and talking to a large audience on the other side of the world. Perhaps it looks like writing a book. Speaking your full truth. Let yourself really go there and daydream. What does it look like in your mind's eye? And as you envision this, I want you to tune into your body. How does this make me feel in my body? As I see myself on that stage or at that book signing. How natural does this feel? Does it feel natural? Does it feel like that's really you up on that stage, speaking your truth? Or does it feel like it's very far away from coming true? How certain are you? How certain are you that this vision can come true? And if this daydream, this image in your mind's eye of you speaking your full truth, if it feels a little bit far from you, if it feels like, hey, that might not manifest this year or next year, just really get present to that. And if you were to have this daydream, this image of you speaking your full truth, if it were to come true, what are you certain of? What will happen if you were to step out on that international stage? What will happen if you were to write multiple books? What will happen if you were to make 6 figures? What are you certain will happen if this image comes true? What are you certain of? What's that shoe drop scenario in your mind? So it's like, if I were to be on that international stage, gosh, I'm so sure people are just going to throw apples at me. What is your shoe drop scenario? Get really honest with yourself. So for me in that example earlier, it's like if I had multiple clients all at the same time in 2015, I was so certain that I would not have time for my kids. I was so certain that I would not have time for my kids. And so I blocked my own client flow. Whatever you are certain of, that is what you call into your experience. For those of you that are joining, we're actually doing a little bit of a meditation where we're tuning in to what it would look like if we were to speak our full truth. What I want you to bring to your mind's eye now, clients paying you 5 figures. Bring into your mind's eye, see the transactions coming in, see the client saying yes to paying you $10,000, $20,000 for your services. How does that feel in your body? Do you feel like this can't be? This can't manifest? Or does it kind of feel a little natural? Like this feels good, this feels right, this could manifest? Does it feel natural to receive $10,000 from clients, $20,000 from clients? Tune in with real brutal honesty. And if you were to receive $10,000, $20,000 from your clients, you see these transactions coming in, the contract has been signed. As you begin to work with this high-level client, is there something that you're really certain about? Is there something that you feel, is there an assumption about how this will play out as you fulfill your services for this client? What are you certain about? You can come on back in the room when you're ready and go ahead and jot down those notes. What were you so certain about? And put some of your thoughts and sharings in the chat there. I'd love to know. Go ahead and journal. What was that shoe drop scenario? Perhaps when you were envisioning, that high-level client paying you, was there a level of certainty that this new client was going to be disappointed with your services? What were you really certain of? For those of you that have joined, welcome. Welcome. I hope the time changed. Was it the reason? Oh, Lisa, I'm so sorry. Oh boy. I hope you guys are getting my emails. I did send out that time converter. I should have posted it on Facebook again. But this is being recorded, by the way, so you can absolutely get the replay. And because you're here live, you will get the VIP bonus opportunity a little bit later on. But we went over, if you look on the chat, if you scroll up, the link to the printout is there. So we've already worked through the universal law of impermanence and how that shows up in your business, the universal law of sacrifice, the universal law of attraction, and now the universal law of assumption. And the key to assumption, so I'll recap for this one particular law because it's so key. When you're working with the universal law of assumption, it's all about what you're certain of. And a lot of times, the reason that we manifest the worst case scenarios is because we're damn certain that that we're not good enough, right? We're so certain that we're going to disappoint our clients. We're so certain that people are going to ask for refunds if they're dissatisfied with us. We're certain that people are just going to say no before they even get to know what our services are. We're just so certain of all of our limitations. And so that's what shows up in front of your face, like all the time. I was using an example earlier, like personal relationships. If you're dating a guy and you're so certain that all men are dogs, then you end up having an experience where you go, well, there you go. I knew it. Well, you were certain of it, so of course it will come up into your experience, right? This is the universal law of assumption at play. So in your business, when you're trying to raise your prices, if you are really clear, $300 is way too much, right? So let's say you're jumping from 100 to 300. If you're really certain that people are going to say no to your new higher price point, that's what's going to show up for you, people who say no to your higher price points, right? Kara says, I am certain that I can be the New York Times #1 bestseller and be a hilarious, inspiring presenter, captivating, and help people change their lives. The shoe drop would be, what if I do all the work and nobody shows up? perfect example, right? It's like you have this dream, you have this desire sparked within you, which is, by the way, your potential. Not your highest potential, because you have yet to see that, but your next step potential. So you have this desire sparked within you to be a #1 bestseller on New York Times list. And then there's that fear, that shoe drop scenario. There's that fear that's like, oh, go ahead. If you want to try it. But I know people are not going to show up. I know people are going to reject the book. Publishers will reject the book, etc. And so get clear. This is the brutal honesty, guys. There is no self-revealing. There is no clarity. There is no shifting beyond where you are if you don't allow yourself to be brutally honest with what's going on in here. And remember, the law of assumption is really strictly in your core belief system. So that's where it rules. And so what is that fear? It's going to be a fear, right? It's going to be a fear. Whatever that shoe drop scenario is, whatever mixed signal you're sending to the universe, it's a fear. It's always going to boil down to some kind of fear or lack of belief in yourself. And so now that you know, that's the fear. Now you get to really utilize the law of sacrifice. Don't you just love how they all come together? They're also related, right? So you can choose to let go of this fear and replace it with something else. And this is what I call reprogramming of your, navigating your matrix and reprogramming your core beliefs, okay? So you can reprogram it. So you can replace that old lower energy belief with something that's higher vibration. And the way I do this is with I am affirmation. So all my clients know this, and it's extremely powerful. And it relates to my personal success for the 6-figure years that I've had in the past, which I'm going to share with you in a little bit. That's going to be the next step, since we're completing the 4 universal laws right now. But before we get there, I want to just check in. How many of you guys have something that you want to share, something that's coming up for you? If you have a question about the 4 universal laws, I want you to either raise your hand or put it in the chat right now. This will be your chance to kind of share with me what that exercise was like just now. Okay. On one level, you may say, well, Renee, all this is kind of simple, right? And it kind of is. You know, Wayne Dyer has been teaching it for years. Louise Hayes has been teaching it for years. Neville teaches it, right? But mastering it is very, very different, isn't it? And for me, it all boils down to creating the space of stillness so that you can really see yourself. You can really see your fears and get super honest. The reason I'm not a success right now is because of me. That's your starting point. The reason nothing has freaking changed in my life or business is because of me. This is the personal responsibility I keep talking about. Once you get clear that you're sending a mixed signal, your mixed results or your undesirable results are due to a mixed signal, the next step is, okay, I take responsibility. I've been sending out a mixed signal. What is that mixed signal? All right, well, it's always going to be very two contrasting things. The thing that I desire, my daydream, my God breadcrumb, whatever is on the other side of that threshold, it's going to be that higher vibration way of being, right? Freedom, 6 figures, more visibility, more clients, traveling, whatever that is for you. That is in contrast to where you are right now. And so there's a fear that keeps you stuck where you are. I mentioned golden handcuffs before. You've got to get really, really clear. This is my own doing, and this is my mixed signal. I say I want X, but really I'm scared of death, so I'm just going to stick with Y. I'll keep praying for X because I'm hoping there's a magic pill somewhere out there. Or I'm hoping if I just connect with God in a particular way, my life will open up. And that's just not true. And I'm freaking out a little bit because I just realized my computer's not plugged in. Okay, and it's gonna be out of battery soon. So here's the deal. It's your personal responsibility, and the universal laws, when you work with it and you flex your mastery muscle, and continue to really observe yourself and self-reveal your fears and that mixed signal, then you can really start to work with the universal laws consistently and bring in that consistent income like I have since October 2015. Okay. So next, what I want to do is I want to share with you how you can really dive deeper into this work, right? Because this is just the starting point where you become really aware of what your mixed signal is. So I want to share with you an opportunity to work with me deeper, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about what my personal juicy affirmation was to work with the law of assumption to create that first six-figure year right out of the gate when I became an entrepreneur. So how many of you guys found this valuable, by the way? Just kind of, did you have some healing insights? Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Al. Kara, raise your hands. Awesome. So if you've had valuable insight, hey, Susan, you just got here and you found it valuable. Yay. So if you want to dive deeper, I have a retreat coming up in Montana, May 26th to the 28th, and it's all about signaling your soul client. And what we do there is super powerful and unique because we're really going to, one, dive deeper into what your fears are, which are your blocks, and there's something called your fear shield that we are going to tap into. So we're going to dive deeper into this work of self-revealing fears and your fear shields and your blocks, but we're also going to take action, right? So it's really using the framework of the Soul Purpose Success Formula, which is right energetic foundation, along with right action in that order will offer you brand new results, manifesting brand new results. So what we'll do, in addition to the 3 activations that we will have at the retreat, third activation from the Cosmic Christ, an ascension ceremony with Saint Germain, as well as a visit and excursion to the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas, which is extremely activating. In addition to those 3 activations, again, supporting your right energetic foundation, we're also going to come up with a strategy for higher visibility and raising your profile online. When you put the 2 together and approach that new marketing strategy with a new way of being, you get brand new results, right? This is the Soul Purpose Success Formula at work. And so I want to invite you to that retreat. It's going to be May 26th through the 28th. It is Memorial Day weekend. And right now, if you book, you go ahead and get an early bird discount where you save $600. So I want to just share my screen with you really quickly. Let's see, share screen. What am I going to show you guys? Oh, you're gonna see Notorious B.I.G. first, but that's okay, because that's the music. That's the song I was playing earlier. You guys, I'm gonna play it. Oh no, can you guys hear me? Oh no, can you hear me?
I think we've just left the inmates in charge of the asylum.
All right, well, what mischief can we get up to?
Well, what I'm learning is that the possibilities are limitless.
Yes, too true. There she is. You're on mute, Renee.
Oh, can you guys hear me now? I think you can. All right, awesome, good. I see you laughing. Okay, well, it was so funny that Biggie. What's the thing you heard right before we went out? Anyway, so I wanted to share a screen with you, so let's do that. I'm plugged in now. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see here. Share desktop. I wanted to show you what. So this is one screen you're looking at. I think you're seeing it. Early bird, save $600 before the end of the month. So if you want to pay in full, it's $12.97. This is the Signal Your Soul Client Retreat, by the way. What I really wanted to show you was that gorgeous picture. This is the venue. Woohoo! Excursion to the Sacred Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. I wanted to show you that. Where was that picture? Ta-da! Ah, activations galore. The whole premise of my work is to get you in the right energetic foundation. That is key, key, key. And part of that is also connecting with your spirit guides. And this particular space where I'll take you on an excursion is super powerful. Kara was there last time I was in Montana. And I will, it'll be my third time there this May. It is just a sacred site. And every time I go, I'm bawling my eyes out because activations are happening. And you may not know why you're crying, but on a subconscious level, when you connect with God in an intimate new way, it's like remembering home. So you're not conscious of why you're crying, but you're crying your eyes out. That's special. That's sacred. That's a gift. And so that's what's available at this beautiful garden that we will take an excursion to. So if you want to come to Montana with me, May 26th to 28th, it's going to be a really powerful 2.5 days. And it's, again, all about accessing your deepest blocks, that fear shield, getting you to start sending that clear signal versus a mixed signal to your soul clients, and really having a visibility breakthrough, and stepping into that new power, into your ability to manifest the success in your business. And so what do you get when you come to this retreat? In addition to what I described, which is what you can expect, that was part of the agenda, you get some special bonuses, right? Now, these 2 bonuses are for everyone in the public, but there's also a special bonus for those of you that are here right now live with me. So stay tuned for that. I'm just going to check the chat really quickly. So Kara says it was so amazing. It was start of changing everything for me in my business. Yeah, so cool. Thanks for sharing that, Kara. So Kara signed up to work with me after that retreat, and things have really been opening up. But boy, 2.5 days in a room at a transformational retreat will do that for you. It can really give you that big aha that is like, it blows your soul out of 3D to another realm. And you're like, oh, I see now. This is why I haven't shifted. Things that you couldn't see before. The 2.5 days is the perfect format, I found, to really hold sacred space for you to have the breakthroughs that you need. So when you sign up, you get the Soul Purpose Success Launchpad. Now this is much bigger than the e-course that you may have heard about earlier. So this Launchpad is a 3-stage curriculum. You get to learn the key to manifesting your soul purpose like a master. You get to know how to own your mastery instantly, and you get divine blueprint alignment, which connects you with your spirit guides, your I am. It also offers you something called a soul star clearing, which is all about really letting the downloads come in, right? Letting the downloads come in so you know what those God breadcrumbs are. Additionally, you're going to get a special right energy activation call. How many of you have been to a retreat, by the way? Show of hands. Who has been to a 2.5-day retreat? Okay. And also, I know Kara's raising her hand, and I know a couple of other folks in here have been to a 2.5-day retreat. When you sign up, and this is actually true for Reiki classes or for anything with spirit, when you sign up for something that's going to grow you, the work starts right then and there. And so I've put together something called a right energy activation call, which is going to happen the first week of May before we meet in Montana. And what we're going to do is it's going to be a gathering of everyone who's signed up, right? So you actually get to see and meet the people that you're going to be in the room with in Montana before you get there. So that's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to really make the group energy gel together, right? And activate, energize what is going to be your breakthrough and really offer you the opportunity to even go deeper. So we'll be chatting on that call about like what you can expect and what it is that you really want from this retreat. And then when you come to Montana, since you already know some of the people that have signed up with you, you get to build deeper relationships, which actually is a lot juicier than you might realize. Groups are amazing. So this is why I started doing retreats. One-on-one is great, but you grow so much faster and deeper in a group setting. Raise your hand if that's true for you. It's absolutely been true for me over the past 2 years. And so I want to really support that a little more with this beautiful Right Energy Activation Call. So that expires April 30th. The early bird expires at the end of this month, where you save $600. And for being here live, I just want to quickly say that you guys get an opportunity to have 1 month of free coaching with me. Okay, so if you sign up within the next 48 hours, in addition to the 2.5-day retreat, you get this VIP bonus, which is 1 month of coaching with me. That includes 3 private calls and 1 sacred shifting healing session with your IM. So this is the standard that I offer. Hey, Kira, welcome. This is the standard package within a month of coaching that I offer. And so you'd get that for free. This is worth $2,000 in itself. The other bonuses are worth $1,500. So altogether, if you sign up in the next 48 hours, you get this, $3,500 bonus package in addition to the 2.5 days in Montana with me in the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. So what's really possible for you with this VIP bonus as well is you get to integrate all that juicy energy shifting that happens in Montana. Like, you're not going to be left alone to integrate that when you go home, right? Because that can be a real shocker to the energy system. When you're away at a new location, a new environment, and you step into a new way of being, it's all great and lovey-dovey. But then when you come back to your old environment, to your husband, to your family, to your friends, and they only remember you as the old way of being, it can be hard to say, no, like, this is the new me. Like, I have more power. I am of value. I really am going to show up in the world as the powerful spiritual leader I am. It's a little hard to integrate that when everybody sees you a certain way. And so it becomes easy to fall back into the old way of being. And so that's why this 1 month of coaching after the retreat is super, super valuable. So I hope you take me up on that. If you're feeling a heart tug, sign up within the next 48 hours. You get the early bird pricing, you save $600, and you get this 1 month of coaching for free. Yay! All right, I'm going to stop sharing the screen now because there's also one more bit of content that I want to share with you. My personal secret to making 6 figures multiple years. Oh goodness, how do I bring the screen back? Stop the share. Okay, you see me. So the last bit of the agenda that I want to offer you has to do with the law of assumption. This is how I successfully used the law of assumption when I first became an entrepreneur. It was an affirmation, but there was so much certainty behind it. You cannot fake it till you make it, right? So a lot of people are like, well, affirmations don't really work. And it's because there's no level of certainty. Remember that the law of assumption requires, or rather it's just all about how certain you are, and if you use your imagination to reinforce that certainty. So again, certainty and imagination are the key ingredients to properly using the law of assumption. So when I was a database consultant and I was traveling into Manhattan, using the subway all the time to go to my clients, on those subway rides, I would say to myself over and over again, like a mindless chant, I would say to myself, I have infinite wisdom and my clients love me. I have infinite wisdom and my clients love me. Now, here's the key, right? Oh, it's just another affirmation. Well, no, I'm going to show you what's really underneath that. I was dating a guy at that time, and he was not really spiritual. And he heard me. I shared with him. I have no filter. I share everything. And so I shared with him my affirmation. I have infinite wisdom, and my clients love me. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, infinite wisdom, huh? How you figure? Now, me, totally innocent me, right? I did not even register that he thought this was coming from my ego. So I'm like, yeah, I have infinite wisdom. And he's like, well, how do you figure? And I immediately was like, I'm connected to God, duh. And he was like, all right. But this is to show you how natural it felt for me, right? So go back to that exercise that we did earlier. And I said, how natural does it feel when you had that vision in your mind's eye about being on the international stage speaking? How natural did it feel? Because for me, right, me being connected to God, me having infinite wisdom at my fingertips was fact. For me, it was fact. I was certain of this fact. And so every time I speak to my database clients, to my high-level clients here with this business, when I go to speak at live events, even when I was doing Reiki workshops, like I just knew Spirit was going to talk through me, that I have infinite wisdom. There was no milliliter of doubt anywhere. I was so certain. And so it was because I was so certain. You get that? So certainty is really, really key. And imagination. So I would literally envision, kind of like you did, right, in your mind's eye, what would it look like? What would it look like if my clients love me up? What would that feel like if my clients love me up? Is it like gift baskets being sent to my home? Is it like referrals to other board members, right? Like really getting into it and using your imagination to reinforce the level of certainty that you feel. That is key. So when you're raising your prices with your business, or you're trying something new, like a new program format that Spirit has offered you, use your imagination to picture in your mind's eye that success. Picture with detail, because what you picture in here is what comes out in the world, right? It's an out picturing of your mental image. And being really super honest with yourself and being really mindful. As I'm picturing this, am I trying to fake it till I make it? Right? Or am I really feeling like this is natural and I am certain this will happen? Because if you're faking it just till you make it, there is a fear underneath that, and you're really more certain that the shoe will drop. Okay? So get really honest with yourself. This is one of the main pillars to this work. It's one of the main pillars to this work. Sometimes the truth is ugly. The truth can be like, oh, I don't want to do that or show up that way or make the person feel bad because I don't know. Because I know I will make the person feel bad because I think I'm awesome, or whatever. That wasn't very ugly. I can't think of anything really ugly up here. Let me think. Right? Like, oh, this would be the right thing to do, but I don't want to do it because it might make me look like a bad mother or something like that. Like you're really, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to protect yourself in a way that may not be with integrity, all because you're trying to protect an aspect of yourself, right? And so that, if that truth were to be revealed, it may not make you look good. Like it could get ugly like that, right? So really get honest. What am I doing? What's the signal I'm sending? How am I using these universal laws? And as you do that, you will start to flex your mastery muscle and create consistency. And I'm talking about consistency in your ability to manifest that which you have in your mind's eye. Consistency in manifesting what you are dreaming of. And then the consistent income and the consistent client flow, all that will follow, right? So Kara says, when you want to believe and be certain, but you don't yet, what do? Okay, pick immediate, intermediate affirmations and work your way up. So you notice there's a contrast. So you notice there's a mixed signal. You know you're working towards one thing and you're like, oh, I have a shoe drop scenario. What do I do? You can, two things. You can get to the bottom of why you have that fear, right? So if you're really fearing that people will not pay the $50 increase in your price, and you're really afraid that people are actually going to scoff at you and say that, you know, who are you to charge an extra $50, right? Like, what is that root fear? So you can go that direction and go, well, this fear of rejection comes from, you know, blah, 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 whatever memory comes up for you. And that is one of the ways that I offer healings with my high-level clients. Another way, sometimes just the awareness is enough. Sometimes, not all the time. It depends again on your energy and where you are, and how big the contrast is. So if the contrast is not very big, sometimes the awareness is enough and it'll like pop that fear, right? If the contrast is very wide, then that healing I just said earlier, which is go to the deeper root of that fear. Where did it come from? Where did it stem from? And heal up that inner child that's still hurting from that fear. That would really work. And then the medium approach would be to use affirmations to flip it and reprogram it. So like I said, with my own fear shield, right? It was like, please, I'm ready for all these clients. And it's like, fear shield, so not ready, drip it one by one. And my approach with that was using affirmations and saying, or it wasn't really, it was affirmations in the sense that I did it regularly and I kept talking to myself, but it was really more of a conversation like, hey, you're totally safe, right? Because the fear shield is a fear. So it was me saying, you're totally safe, the balance, you know, you'll strike it, everything will be fine. And really talking to myself as if I was coaching myself, that really helps to keep that objective perspective. So I'm not in the fear, right? But I'm outside of the fear, so I can manage it better. So that's another approach. You can certainly use intermediate affirmations. Yeah, to step up vibrationally until you're like, well, duh, yes, of course. I am so certain people will pay an extra $50 to come see me, right? Really good question. There are, you know, the 3 ways that I just shared. Those are my proven methods. It's what I do with my high-level clients. But of course, it's also what I do with myself, which is why I'm so passionate when I share these teachings, because it's worked for me for the past decade. And, you know, I've seen consistent income since 2015. And I've raised my prices from, you know, 3 figures to 5 figures within 16 months. And I'm leading retreats now all around the country, which was super scary for me before my Mama Shasta retreat. And so I do the work. And so that's why I can hold space for my clients to step into their potential as well. Awesome. And I'm noticing that we are at the 90-minute mark. So I do want to wrap this up. If there's any questions, put it in the chat really quickly. You have your worksheet. You have the universal law, the 4 universal laws. And now you should know, based on the insights you had in the teaching, how to work with them or how to work against them. And you guys are all amazing in what you have to offer the world. And the world so needs your healing touch right now. Don't underestimate your ability to impact the world, right? Because you're doing a big disservice to mankind. And of course, your soul is stifled in the process, and that's no fun. So I invite you to really dare to dream, and then master your fear and master shifting your energy and working with the universal laws to really create the life that you want, because you deserve it. You know, it's great for the world, but also you deserve it. You deserve to have fun and create anything you want. And you can, because you're a powerful creator and you yourself are an I am. So lastly, I just want to say, remind you that the retreat in Montana is going to be a powerful retreat. It always is. I love doing this. There are 3 activations that are waiting for you at the retreat as well. A 3rd eye activation from the Cosmic Christ, the Ascension Ceremony with Saint Germain, which is changes up your cellular programming permanently. It's a permanent shift in your cellular being, which is super powerful. And then the trip to the garden of 1,000 Buddhas. So if you're feeling a tug, it could be that one of those activations is just right for you for right now in May. Or if you're feeling a tug, you really are ready for this visibility breakthrough in 2018. And so I invite you to go to reneelee.net/retreat, reneelee.net/retreat. Sign up in the next 48 hours and you get a month of free coaching. A month of free coaching. It's a $2,000 value. And boy, I've never offered a free month of coaching before. And I'm so excited because I know it will really make a deeper difference for the retreat participants. So I am so excited. reneelee.net/retreat. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching this on replay. And I just want to say I honor you and I honor your light. And I always love teaching you and guiding you. And so thank you so much for being here and for making me happy. Should I go out with Biggie? I think that's a yes from Kara. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Oh my God, I love you guys. It's your time to come out, come up and shine. reneelee.net/retreat. Hope to see you guys there.
Who's hot, who not? Tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who you drop box, who knows we go down to the blue drop. The same old pimp, ace, you know ain't nothing changed but my lip. Can't stop.